Welcome to the Duck Dive. We're brought to you by Defiant. That's the on-chain lifestyle sports brand keeping you plugged in.
Yep, and today we're digging into the top stories, making waves in DeFi, entertainment, and sports. We're looking beyond the headlines for what really matters.
Exactly, giving you the insights you need. So let's start with DeFi and crypto. There's some interesting stuff with Google Wallet.
Right. Google Wallet is integrating something called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs.
ZKPs, okay.
Yeah.
And this is for things like age checks, verifying ID.
Precisely. Think about proving you're, say, over 18 online. Usually you hand over lots of data.
Yeah, your whole driver's license picture or something.
Exactly. But with ZKPs, Google Wallet can confirm you meet the age requirement without actually seeing your birth date or, other sensitive details.
Okay, that sounds important. Less data floating around.
It's a huge step for privacy, really. Minimizing data sharing. That's the goal.
And it's rolling out where first? UK, some US states?
That's the initial plan, yeah. But the really big news, I think, is they plan to open source the tech.
Open source. So other people can use it.
Bingo. If this ZKP method becomes widely available, it could, set a whole new standard for how we do things online privately. More control for you, the user.
Interesting. Okay, moving from personal digital identity to state-level crypto decisions. Arizona.
Yeah, a bit of a setback there for Bitcoin adoption, at least for now. Governor Hobbs vetoed the Arizona Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act.
So Arizona buying and holding Bitcoin as a state asset, that's off the table. Why the veto?
Well, the official reasons were concerns about Bitcoin's volatility, its price swings, and also the lack of clear rules, the regulatory uncertainty.
Makes sense from a cautious perspective, I guess, but not everyone agrees.
Definitely not. Senator Wendy, who pushed for the bill, she said she's going to refile it next session.
Still fighting for it then.
Absolutely. She framed it as really important for Arizona's financial future long term. It really highlights that ongoing debate, doesn't it? Traditional finance versus these new digital assets.
Yeah, a real split in viewpoints. And speaking of holding Bitcoin, Coinbase, the numbers are pretty staggering.
They really are. Reports say Coinbase holds around 2.7 million Bitcoin.
2.7 million, what's that worth?
Roughly $261 billion, give or take market fluctuations. It's massive.
Wow. Okay, so what does that tell us? Beyond Coinbase being, well, huge.
It underlines just how significant institutional interest in Bitcoin has become. We're not just talking small retail investors anymore. Major players are holding very large amounts.
Suggests a long-term belief, maybe?
You'd have to think so, yeah. Holding that much isn't usually a short-term play. Shows Bitcoin's deep integration into the financial system now.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk entertainment, specifically Web3 gaming. Pixels and Runiverse.
Yeah, an interesting partnership announced there. Pixels and Runiverse are teaming up.
And the goal is?
To create interconnected gaming experiences. Basically, making it so you can use your digital assets, like an item you earned or bought, across both games.
Ah, interoperability. We hear that word a lot. So my cool sword from Game A might work in Game B.
Kind of like that, yeah. Within their Link ecosystem, at least. It's about making those digital items you own more useful, more valuable.
Right. Boosts engagement, makes the whole experience stickier, maybe.
Exactly. It moves towards making these Web3 game assets feel more like real versatile property, a step towards, richer digital worlds.
But it's not all smooth sailing in Web3 gaming, is it? There's been some churn.
No, definitely not always smooth. We saw Gala Games, for instance, pull the plug on their Walking Dead game.
Oh, right, I heard about that. And wasn't there something with Flappy Bird?
Yeah, the crypto-related version of Flappy Bird was also removed, which shows how dynamic and volatile this space still is.
So building a successful Web3 game takes more than just putting it on the blockchain.
Absolutely. You need solid gameplay, a strong community. You need to adapt quickly. It's tough, and it highlights the risks involved. Not every project makes it.
Okay, so recapping quickly, we've got Google pushing privacy tech with ZKPs.
States debating Bitcoin reserves.
Coinbase holding billions in Bitcoin, signaling institutional buy-in.
Right, and then Web3 gaming pushing for interoperability, but also facing, the realities of a new market.
It feels like all these threads, privacy, finance, ownership, in games, they're all kind of weaving together.
I think that's a great way to put it. They all touch on how we'll own and interact with things digitally in the future. Controlling data, decentralized assets, digital property. It's all evolving fast.
So the final thought for you, our listener, is maybe to think about how these different pieces might connect. How could more private digital ID or shifts in crypto regulation or more useful game assets, how could they change your digital life down the road?
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. It's a landscape that's changing constantly.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive powered by Defiant. We'll catch you next time.